Less zombies, more boulder punching.
Think we can just forget about what happened in Louisiana?
It happened so long ago. I don't understand why you are so...
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. My name is Ty with Mojo Plays, and this is my review of Resident Evil Village on PlayStation 5. Before we begin, we publish new videos all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. And if you want to talk zombos, demons, or vampire ladies, you can follow me on Twitter at GhostWriterTyler.
I hope your family is safe.
I do too. Once we get out of here, maybe you'll get to meet them.
Ah, Ethan Winters, everyone's favorite white bread hero of the series. Ever since the events of Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, Ethan has become slightly paranoid about his life. Hey, you can't blame the guy for caring about his wife and daughter. However, his panic has become justified after boulder-punching champion Chris Redfield grows a beard, adopts a brooding personality, and decides to kidnap Ethan's daughter because reasons. While being taken into custody and thrown in the back of a truck, a freak accident occurs, forcing Ethan to wander into a snowstorm, thus leading him into a village of terror. Where has Chris gone with your daughter? What madness ensued before your arrival? And why does this cast of villains look like one of those group walks into a bar jokes?
Heisenberg, the man's fate is in your hands.
Mother Miranda, I must protest.
As in most Resident Evil games, your time will be spent running from all sorts of monsters as you meticulously manage your inventory, scramble for ammunition and collectibles, and wonder whether you're missing a piece to a particular puzzle or if you're just stupid. Maybe that last part is just me, but if you've played any of the games, you pretty much know what Village is going to be like. However, that isn't to say it's like any other Resident Evil game. Village actually brings a handful of ideas from past installments and meshes them in a way that creates its own identity.
I am but a humble merchant.
Here?
One such example of this is through the use of themed horror, an idea explored in RE7, where the cast of baddies each serve as a theme of horror. As we're all probably aware of thanks to Capcom's marketing, Lady Dimitrescu represents the vampires, Beneviento plays the creepy doll shtick, while Heisenberg gets a bit obscure with the industrial mechanized horror. And Moreau, well, he's Moreau. He's a disgusting blob who reeks of dead fish and looks like a poke would cause him to explode with delicious jelly.
This is my territory. I won't let you leave.
Shit.
And then there's the mysterious Mother Miranda, who looks like a cult leader and admittedly terrifies me the most.
Hey, don't I get a say in this?
Silence! My decision is final. There will be no argument. Remember from whence you came.
Thanks.
An odd mix of enemies, yes, but upon reflection I noticed that each villain utilizes different formats we've seen across other horror games. For example, Dimitrescu and her castle provide an experience akin to RE2 and RE3 by having the player stalked in a labyrinthian area.
No! How much blood and sweat do you think it took to raise those daughters? You have incurred an impossible debt.
Beneviento reminded me of the more obscure Emily Wants to Play series, wherein hide-and-seek becomes a game of life and death, whereas Moreau was like an expanded version of the fight with Killer Croc in Batman Arkham Asylum. While these concepts may be seen as recycled, I felt they fit well into the puzzle, shoot, survive cycle Resident Evil has been known for, often focusing on one of those three, if not blending them all together. While we're on the subject of cycles, Village does do something that forces you to pace yourself differently when compared to the rest of the series. In between your time spent exploring each villain's region, players can explore the village in order to find items to aid in your survival. As you obtain more key items, so too does your freedom in exploring the village. It creates this interesting pace between the key regions that allows you to take it easy a bit, replenish your stock, and search thoroughly for anything that may seem useful. Observant players may stumble across hidden bosses or clues to finding special resources. Resources pertaining to animals may be given to the Duke so he may cook up a meal that'll increase your stats. With all of this, Village gives you plenty of time to recompose yourself, assess your situation post-boss battle, and adjust accordingly to prepare for your next venture.
Ah,
Village also brings back an inventory management system similar to RE4, and it comes with some features to make managing easy. For starters, any crafting supplies, key items, or treasures you find will not take up inventory space. So if you see anything under those categories, pick it up. Secondly, crafting is more user-friendly than ever before. Past games have often required players to use a combine mechanic in order to create special items. Not anymore. Crafting is an entirely different menu that keeps track of everything you've picked up and lets you simply select recipes you've learned to craft items. So long as you have the recipe, the resources, and the room, you won't have to worry about sorting out space and memorizing what can be combined with which item. Thanks to this, you're spending more time in the game and less time in the menus, which is something many survival games fail to achieve. What surprised me most about Village was the combat. Resident Evil often creates scenarios that toy with your fight or flight responses. Fighting off a single foe may not be a problem for you, but what are you going to do if you find yourself surrounded by Lycans and one of them is wielding a giant hammer? Typically, this is where you choose to either waste the ammo and go out in a blaze of glory, or run away with your limbs intact but shameful of your cowardice. Maybe that's just me again. However, Village adds a little more incentive to confront your fears.
Hello? You shouldn't be out here. It's not safe.
Often common enemies and tough adversaries will net you crafting supplies, currency, or even special treasures to sell to the Duke, who serves as your enigmatic merchant here. It's another layer of risk and reward. Sure, you can run and conserve your ammo, but if you get a ton of currency or a couple of treasures from wasting away minions, that could allow you to buy additional ammo, new recipes, or even upgrade your weapons the next time you run into the Duke. Basically, you have to weigh your possibilities in both short-term and long-term gains, and it was this kind of thinking that encouraged me to at least try and fight my foes. Now, this is all well and good, but the big question is if Village manages to be as scary as the games before it, while carrying on the same level of cheese. Honestly, I felt that it did. While I wasn't really going around with extreme caution, there were enough tense moments in the game that made me jump or scream obscenities. Some of our wonderful members in the Watch Mojo Discord got a glimpse of that as I was showing off the game on launch day. Still, there was a part of me that wished it had aimed for the same level of WTF that RE7 displayed. Village has its own way of scaring you, but they arguably don't come as close to RE7's unabashed reliance on shock. As for the campy dialogue, there was plenty of that. It wasn't enough to come off as obnoxious, thankfully, and Capcom seems to understand when not to go off the deep end with ridiculous dialogue. There were a few times where Ethan leans into it a bit too much, but overall, I didn't mind it.
Why is everyone dying on